Undead Horde 2, Necropolis. It's pretty easy to guess what kind of game it is just from the title. You play the part of the undead king of the city of the dead, known as Necropolis, seeking to rebuild your city and reclaim the souls that were stolen after the living decided that a better place for the dead to spend eternity would be inside mason jars. Probably stored in the pantry between the pickles and the raspberry preserves. Most of the gameplay involves you raising an army of undead followers and sending them to attack groups of enemies. You do have a melee weapon and some spells available, but for a standard playthrough most of the work will be done by your minions. You can choose to adventure with up to 5 different types of followers at a time, and can change your lineup simply by visiting the effigy table in Necropolis at any time. The size of your army is limited by how high your control stat is. When you start, you'll only have a small handful of followers, but as you progress and your control stat gets higher, the size of your army will grow and you can control more powerful minions. There is a pretty good variety of minions to choose from, each with their own traits and abilities. Skeletons, zombies, banshees, giants, and even chickens. Yes, I said chickens. As a matter of fact, a horde of undead chickens can be surprisingly effective, as long as the enemies you're fighting don't have strong AoE attacks. When you level, you'll be given the option to choose which set of stats you wish to increase in the form of playing cards. You'll be given a choice between 3 randomly selected cards. Strength cards will focus on making your melee attacks stronger, while magic cards do the same for your staff spells. Cards of the mind increase your mana, while vigor increases your health. Each card seems to come in a variety of power levels as well, indicated whether they are a jack, queen, king, or ace. There's also the Joker card, which adds a little to every stat. No matter which card you pick, you'll always gain 20 command each time you level. There is a crafting system you can use to upgrade your gear, but honestly I found it to be a little confusing and not very intuitive. Basically, you put the item you want to upgrade in the top slot, the item you want to pull buffs from in the second, and an item of the quality you want your new item to be in the third. If you can get used to it and you're using the same item type in all 3 slots, you can make some pretty good gear. But if you use different types of items, like a weapon, a staff, and a book, the stats applied to the new item seem to be randomized, making the crafting process more tricky. Upgrading your minions mainly involves rescuing souls that have been captured by the living. You do this by clearing each area of enemies and structures. Once the last one goes down, they drop a soul jar you can bring back to Necropolis. These souls in turn can be assigned in various buildings to give your minions certain buffs and abilities. For example, making certain minion types cost less control or allowing them to poison enemies if they fall in battle. These souls can be unassigned and used somewhere else for free at any time, allowing you to adapt your army to different challenges. Once you complete the game, you have the option to reset the world with a higher level of difficulty, adding a little more replayability value. It's basically a new game plus function. Overall, I found Undead Horde 2 to be a fairly enjoyable game, and for the current price of around $15, I'd say it's definitely worth a look. Especially if you're looking for a somewhat casual game that should run well even on low-end machines.